One of the best features of Pokemon are their abilities, and ever since Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, Game Freak has continued to add new abilities each generation. Some abilities are very powerful and nice to have, while others not so much. But how difficult would it be to become the champion if your whole team had those negative abilities? Well, today I'll be answering that question in the Alola region. So, without further ado, it's time to find out if I can beat Pokemon Moon while only having bad abilities. After waking up, heading to Iki Town, saving Nebby, and going through all the other brutally long cutscenes, it was finally time to choose my starter. And I went with the Dark-type Sableye. That's a weird looking Sableye, by the way. If you're wondering where this decision is coming from, one of Sableye's abilities is Stall, meaning I always move second. Also, this is a good time to mention that this is my first time playing through Pokemon Sun and Moon since it originally came out, so just bear with me. I barely managed to beat Hau in the first rival battle as I hung on with one hit point. Yeah, moving second is already becoming an issue. The next battle against him went much better, but I did accidentally use a potion as I forgot that I'm not allowing myself to heal in battle. From here on out, that won't happen again. I proceeded to lose multiple times to this random Alolan Grimer in the trainer school since it kept on poisoning me with its Poison Touch ability. Okay, this may be even harder than I thought it would be. I easily handled the Team Skull Grunts in Hau'oli City before destroying Captain Alima's Yungoos and Smeargle. The Totem Alolan Raticate gave me some problems on my first go around by flinching me with Bite. However, with help from the Quick Claw that I grabbed back in the trainer school, I knocked it out a couple of attempts later. The next match with Hau went smoothly, and Kahuna Hala's team wasn't a threat at all, since they could hardly touch me, and I now have Shadow Sneak for some priority. The next major battle was in Hiahia City against Sina. I easily dealt with her Delibird, but Glaceon hit us pretty hard with Icy Wind. So hard in fact that I lost the battle, but you're actually not required to win this fight. Similarly, in Paniola Town, Hau actually defeated me since his Brionne now has Disarming Voice, a super effective move on Sableye. But once again, you're not forced to win this battle, so I was able to progress. I don't know though, this almost feels like cheating in a way, but at the same time, it's not. Anyways, I finally got back in the win column against Gladion on Route 5, before finally getting my second team member in Brooklet Hill. I caught myself a Morelull who gets the Illuminate ability. It has no effect in battle, but now I will be running into wild Pokemon more often. So that's just wonderful. Even though the Totem Wishy-Washy went for Soak on Morelull, meaning Mega Drain wasn't Stab anymore, it still didn't take too long to go down. After experiencing the very unique Battle Royal, we were straight on to Kiawe's trial. I was really worried about the Totem battle since Sableye was already damaged from the previous fights, and obviously Morelull wasn't going to be able to do too much. But because of some dumb move choices like Torment and Taunt, I quickly knocked out the Salazzle. Moving on to Route 8, this is where I added a few members to my team. First, I looked for a Stuffle, who has Klutz, meaning it can't use held items at all. I then caught a Wimpod towards the end of the route, who possesses the Wimp Out ability. Neither of those abilities are terribly bad, but they are very inconvenient. Lastly, I picked up a Chinchou, who along with Morelull has Illuminate. All of these new team members would come in handy in the Totem Lurantis battle, but not on the first go around because I lost. Lurantis wrecked Stuffle, and I nearly took it out with Sableye, but after it used a Synthesis, I knew it was over. I came in with a different strategy a few tries later, as I paralyzed and confused Lurantis with Chinchou. Thanks to some good luck, Sableye made short work of it, so all 3 trials have now been completed on Akala Island. The next order of business was to buy a Plume Fossil in Konikoni City and revive it into an Archon back on Route 8. As I'm sure most of you know, Archon and its evolution have the ability to Fetus, meaning once they reach half health or below, their attack and special attack are cut in half, making them almost useless at that point. No need to worry about that now though, as Chinchou had the next battle covered by sweeping Plumeria's Golbat and Salandit. I had plenty of counters for Olivia's rock types, so even though a few of my Pokemon went down, I didn't have too many issues winning on my first try. After dealing with Nihilego in the Aether Foundation, Hal challenged us once again in Melee City. However, I had super effective attacks for all three of his Mons. I totally forgot about the Molayne battle in front of the observatory, but his team of Steel types got wiped out by Lantern. So it was on to the Totem Vikavolt, who wasn't challenging at all, thanks to having a Golisopod now, who hits like a truck. Back in the Melee Garden, we met Guzma, whose Ariados actually gave me some problems. It knocked out Sableye and Archon with Fell Stinger, meaning his attack was now boosted by 4 stages. Luckily, Beware lived a hit to take him out, but then went down to Golisopod before Lantern came in for the cleanup. The next totem Pokemon was Mimikyu, and it was a rough one. Lantern, Archon, and Shiinotic were not even able to land a hit, thanks to how powerful Mimikyu's Play Rough was, along with its disguise ability. Eventually, it just came down to Sableye, who didn't stand a chance. Many attempts later, I tried a different strategy in which I paralyzed and confused Mimikyu, and with some good RNG, Archon was able to knock it out. The next stage of the game featured a Team Skull Gauntlet, beginning with a rematch against Plumeria. This time around, it was Archon and Sableye who got the job done. Guzma was waiting for us in Po Town, and fortunately, this battle went much better than the first one. Lastly, Gladion wanted revenge for his earlier defeat, but I just handed him another L by knocking out his team members with Lantern, Archon, and Golisopod. It was then time for the third grand trial against Nanu. His Sableye immediately killed Shiinotic and Lantern before Archon avenged them. After that though, the fight was relatively easy, thanks to having a fighting and bug type on my squad. It was now that point in the game where we learned that the Aether Foundation is actually evil. Oh my gosh, who would have thought? So I quickly took care of Faba's pathetic Hypno before me and Hal teamed up to beat him again. Guzma was blocking the entrance to Lucamine's room, and he wasn't going down without a fight. Once his Golisopod went below half health, he switched it out for his Masquerain, who was able to knock out Lantern. Archon then finished the job, before my Golisopod won a 100% fair honor battle against his. Pinsir on the other hand wasn't messing around. It one-shot Sableye and made quick work of my other 3 team members. Looks like I need a different plan if I want to have a shot at winning. And that different plan involved getting Parahacks with the Lantern's Thunder Wave. This resulted in Archeops defeating Ariados, winning us the fight. To my surprise, I beat Lucamine on my very first attempt. Lilligant got OHKO'd by Golisopod, so Mismagius was up next. It killed a Lantern, and then Lucamine switched it out for Beware. Sadly, my Beware lost that honor battle, and then Lucamine switched once again back into Mismagius, only for it to die to an Acrobatics. Shiinotic easily handled my Lodic, but Clefable was annoying to take it down due to how tanky it was. Eventually, a few Acrobatics from Archeops did the trick, and Beware got finished off by a first impression. Out in the Pony Wilds, Hapu took us on in a battle, and I didn't even come close to winning this one. Her Alolan Dugtrio swept a majority of my team, while Golisopod barely lived to kill Mudsdale before dying to Flygon. It seems like this is one of the few times that I need to do a bit of grinding. Getting my entire team to around a level 45 was the key to victory, as I didn't have very many issues after I did that. The Totem Kommo-o thought it could sneak attack me, but I was ready for it. Kommo-o is part fighting, and I had an Archeops with Acrobatics. Nothing more needs to be said. Once again, it only took a single try to beat Lucamine. Her Clefable was almost impossible to deal with though, as after about 3 minutes of battling, it finally went down to a couple of thrashes from Bewear, who also got revenge on Elusamine's Bewear. Lilligant wasn't a threat, Mismagius died relatively quickly, and Golisopod was my last team member left, but he still took care of Milotic. Catching Lunala didn't take long, so it was time for the final couple of battles before the Elite Four. Gladion's Crobat got electrocuted to death, Silvally got hammered by Bewear, Sableye held on to beat Lucario, and Golisopod one-shot Weavile. The final battle with Hau wasn't too much tougher, as Sableye dealt with Alolan Raichu, Lantern took out Primarina with Discharge, Komala got put to sleep by Bewear, and Golisopod destroyed Flareon. Alright, on to the Pokemon League. First up for the Elite Four was Hala, who was by far the easiest member. It was a near one-shot sweep for Archeops with Acrobatics until Bewear finally took him down. But this just allowed my Bewear to get the last laugh. Olivia also wasn't very challenging, as her Relicanth and Lycanroc died pretty quickly to Shiinotic and Bewear. Carbink took Lantern Scalds decently well, so after Olivia popped a couple of full restores, I got taken out. From there though, Shiinotic handled Carbink and Alolan Golem, while Bewear pounded Probopass. The third match with Acerola didn't get off to a good start, as Shiinotic hit itself in confusion, so I was unable to land a Moonblast on Sableye. Eventually, Archeops took it out, while my own Sableye killed Frostlass. Delmise managed to finish off Sableye, which only allowed Archeops to get another knockout. Palisand couldn't live more than a few hits from Lantern, who also got the kill on Drifblim using only a few discharges. The final Elite Four member was Kahili. Skarmory, Oricorio, and Mandibuzz were all fairly easy KOs, but Toucannon demolished a Lantern with the Supersonic Strike. So Archeops had to come in for the cleanup before Sableye took care of Crobat. The only person standing between us and becoming the champion of the Alola region was, well, technically no one because we were just able to walk up to the throne, but Professor Kukui had to test our skills. The battle didn't start off great, as after I nailed a Lycanroc with a Giga Drain, he switched into Incineroar. I got off a Thunder Wave with the Lantern before going down, causing Bewear to finish him off. Braviary wasn't very threatening, but this Alolan Ninetales gave me a lot of problems. It outsped just about everyone on my team, and I had no good counters for an Ice and Fairy type. Eventually, Golisopod knocked it out, but had almost no health remaining, so Magnezone ended the fight quickly. Looks like it's time to change the strategy a bit. Many attempts later, after using my remaining rare candies, I got by the Alolan Ninetales with a good chunk of my team left, meaning I reached Professor Kukui's final team member, Snorlax, with plenty of Pokemon alive. After landing a Toxic and spamming different attacks, Snorlax fell to the battlefield, making us the new champions of the Alola region. Well, that was a pretty fun challenge. I've never really wanted to use Pokemon that have bad abilities, so it was nice to use some mons that I've never had on my team before. It created for some unique roadblocks throughout the game, where I had to come up with different strategies to win. And I know some of the abilities didn't have much of an impact in battle, but others really made things difficult. Like Sableye always moving second, especially when it's already so frail, was incredibly annoying. Anyways, I had a ton of fun making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much. For now though, have a great rest of your day, and until next time, deuces!